Jennifer Mason froze in the doorway of her bedroom, watching her husband of 22 years frantically stuffing clothes into a suitcase. The methodical way Daniel moved, no wasted motion. No hesitation, told her everything she needed to know before he even spoke. This wasn't a business trip. This was an escape. "What are you doing?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Daniel didn't look up, just continued folding his designer shirts with the same care he'd shown them for decades. "What I should have done years ago." The words hit Jennifer with the force of a physical blow. She stood there in her faded pajamas, coffee mug still warm in her trembling hand, as her entire world collapsed in 6 casual words. "Daniel, stop." She stepped forward, reaching for his arm. "Talk to me. What's happening?" He finally met her eyes, and what she saw there terrified her. Nothing, no guilt, no sadness, no regret, just cold determination in the eyes she'd woken up to for over 2 decades. "I'm leaving. Jennifer. Today." The room seemed to spin. Just yesterday, they discussed their daughter Olivia's college applications over dinner. Daniel had kissed Jennifer's forehead before bed and murmured sweet dreams, as he did every night. Yesterday, she'd been a wife. Today, she was. "What, is there someone else?" The question escaped before she could stop it. Daniel paused, a dress shirt halfway into the suitcase. For just a second, something flickered across his face, discomfort, perhaps even shame, but it vanished so quickly Jennifer wondered if she'd imagined about it. "This isn't about anyone else," he said, his voice flat. "This is about me needing to breathe again." But Jennifer knew, the way his phone had been permanently face down for months, the late meetings that ran later and later, the weekend conferences, with no hotel receipts. She'd been pushing down her suspicions for so long, they'd become background noise. But now they screamed at her. "Where will you go?" Her voice sounded small, even to her own ears. "I'll figure it out." He zipped the suitcase with a finality that echoed through the room. "I need you to transfer my half of our savings to my personal account." That's when the real panic set in. Money, their joint accounts, Olivia's college fund, everything they'd built together over 2 decades of marriage. "Mom," Jennifer turned to see their 12-year-old daughter standing in the hallway, still in her school uniform, backpack slung over one shoulder. Olivia's dark eyes, so much like her father's, darted between her parents, taking in the suitcase, her father's cold expression, her mother's pale face. "What's wrong?" Olivia asked, her voice small. "Nothing, sweetheart." Jennifer lied, the words tasting bitter. "Dad's just going on a trip." Olivia's eyes narrowed slightly. At 12, she was perceptive in a way that sometimes unnerved Jennifer, as if she could see straight through the adult pretenses to the messy truths beneath. Jennifer forced a smile and headed downstairs, her bare feet slapping against the hardwood floors as she made her way to the kitchen. She grabbed her laptop from the counter and logged into their bank accounts with shaking fingers. The page loaded, and she stared at the screen in disbelief. Their checking account showed $247.83. Their savings account showed 0. Olivia's college fund, the one they'd been feeding for 12 years. The one that should have contained $75,000 showed 0. "No," she whispered. Refreshing the page, the numbers didn't change. No. She checked the transaction history. 3 days ago, while she was at her book club meeting, Daniel had transferred everything. Not just his half, not just their shared money, everything, including their daughter's future. Jennifer's hands shook so badly she could barely type as she called the bank, praying this was some kind of mistake. The customer service representative confirmed what she already knew, but couldn't accept Daniel had full access to all accounts. The transfers were legitimate. "Mom," Olivia's voice seemed to come from far away. "You're scaring me." Jennifer looked up to see her daughter standing in the kitchen doorway, concern etched across her young face. Olivia was still in her navy and white school uniform, her dark hair pulled back in a neat ponytail, her backpack ready by the door. She had no idea that her father had just stolen her future and walked away. The sound of footsteps on the stairs made them both turn. Daniel appeared, dragging his suitcase behind him. He walked past them like they were furniture, heading straight for the front door. That's it. Jennifer found her voice, and it was stronger than she expected. 22 years, and you're just walking away. He stopped with his hand on the doorknob. I left you a voicemail explaining everything. I don't want a voicemail. I want you to look at your daughter and explain why you're abandoning her. Olivia stood up slowly from the breakfast table. She didn't cry, didn't run to him, didn't beg him to stay. She just watched him with those intelligent eyes that were so much like his. Daniel glanced at Olivia for maybe 3 seconds. You'll understand when you're older, he said to her. Then he looked at Jennifer. Don't make this harder than it has to be. The door closed behind him with a quiet click that somehow sounded louder than if he'd slammed it. Jennifer and Olivia stood in the sudden silence of their kitchen. The coffee maker gurgled. The refrigerator hummed. Outside, a car engine started and pulled away. Is he coming back? Olivia asked. Jennifer wanted to lie to protect her, to say that Daddy just needed some time. But looking at her daughter's face, she realized Olivia already knew the answer. I don't think so, baby. Olivia nodded, processing this information the way she processed everything in her life with careful consideration. Did he take our money? The question caught Jennifer off guard. How could she know to ask that some of it? She said carefully. My college fund, too. Jennifer couldn't speak. She just nodded. Olivia picked up her cereal bowl and walked it to the sink. She rinsed it out, dried it, and put it away in the cabinet. Then she turned to Jennifer with an expression she'd never seen before on her young face. Mom, don't worry. I handled it. The words were so unexpected, so calmly delivered, that Jennifer almost laughed. Handled what? She was 12 years old. What could she possibly have handled? But something in Olivia's tone made Jennifer pause. There was no childish bravado, no empty comfort, just quiet confidence, as if she knew something Jennifer didn't. What do you mean? Sweetheart. Olivia picked up her backpack and headed toward the door. I'll miss my bus if I don't leave now. We'll talk after school. Okay. And then she was gone, leaving Jennifer alone in a house that suddenly felt enormous and empty, with questions she couldn't answer and a future she couldn't see. The house felt different that first week without Daniel. Not just empty, but watchful somehow. Jennifer found herself crying at random moments, folding his abandoned laundry, seeing his coffee mug still in the dishwasher, hearing Olivia's alarm clock through the walls each morning. But Olivia? She moved through their shattered world like nothing had changed. Every morning at 7:15, she'd appear in the kitchen, fully dressed, backpack organized, lunch packed. She'd kiss Jennifer's cheek and say, "Have a good day, Mom," in the same cheerful tone she'd used when they were still a complete family. It was unsettling. Are you okay, sweetheart? Jennifer asked one morning, catching her wrist gently as she headed for the door. Olivia looked at her with those serious dark eyes. I'm fine, Mom. Are you? Jennifer wasn't fine. She was falling apart piece by piece, but she couldn't tell her daughter that. Just checking on you. I know. Olivia squeezed her hand. But I'm really okay. That evening, Jennifer decided to call her sister Janet for advice. As she dialed, she could hear Olivia upstairs in her room. The sound drifted down through the floorboards, rapid clicking, like she was typing frantically. Jennifer assumed she was chatting with friends about the situation, maybe processing her feelings online the way kids do now. Jennifer, how are you holding up? Janet's voice was warm with concern. I don't know, Jennifer admitted, sinking onto the couch. Olivia's being so strong, but I'm worried she's bottling everything up. She hasn't cried once. Some kids process differently. Remember when Dad left? You cried for weeks. But I got angry and broke Mom's favorite vase. The clicking upstairs stopped suddenly, then resumed with even more intensity. What's that sound? Janet asked. Olivia's on her computer, probably homework or games. But even as she said it, something nagged at Jennifer. The rhythm was too consistent, too purposeful for games. After she hung up with Janet, Jennifer made Olivia's favorite dinner, grilled cheese and tomato soup. She knocked on her daughter's door around 6:30. "Come in," Olivia called. Jennifer pushed the door open, carrying the dinner tray. Olivia was sitting at her desk, her laptop screen angled away from the door. She closed it quickly when Jennifer entered. "Brought you some food, honey." "Thanks, Mom." She took the tray without making eye contact. "You can set it on my nightstand." As Jennifer placed the tray down, she glanced at Olivia's desk, scattered papers, her school planner, a few textbooks. Nothing unusual, but there was something deliberate about how she'd positioned everything, like she'd arranged it specifically for Jennifer's visit. "What were you working on?" Jennifer asked casually. "History report on the Industrial Revolution." Olivia opened her laptop again, but Jennifer caught a glimpse of the screen before she minimized whatever she'd been viewing. It looked like an email program, not a school document. "Need any help?" "I'm good, thanks for dinner." Jennifer was dismissed, politely but firmly. She kissed the top of Olivia's head and left, but the uneasy feeling lingered. Over the next few days, the pattern continued. Olivia maintained her perfect routine while Jennifer spiraled deeper into confusion and grief. She'd wake up at 3:00 a.m. with panic attacks, checking their bank accounts obsessively, calling Daniel's number just to hear his voicemail. Meanwhile, Olivia would emerge each morning looking rested and composed. The typing continued every night. Sometimes it went on until nearly midnight. Friday evening, Jennifer was putting away Olivia's clean laundry when she saw it. A single sheet of paper on her desk, partially hidden under her science textbook. She shouldn't have looked, but something about the formatting caught her eye. It was a printed email thread. The names at the top made her blood freeze. Daniel and Catherine. Jennifer's hands shook as she pulled the paper out. The messages were dated from 3 weeks ago, before Daniel left. They were discussing meeting times, hotel reservations, and something about handling Jennifer when the time comes. Jennifer sat down hard on Olivia's bed, staring at the evidence in her hands. Her 12-year-old daughter had somehow accessed her father's private emails. How was that even possible? "Mom." Olivia's voice from the doorway made Jennifer jump. She stood there holding her empty dinner plate, looking at Jennifer with those calm, assessing eyes. No panic, no embarrassment at being caught, just quiet observation. "Olivia, where did this come from?" Jennifer held up the paper. She set her plate down and closed her bedroom door behind her. "Dad's not very good with passwords." "How did you?" Jennifer started, then stopped. "How long have you known about Catherine?" 6 weeks. Olivia sat on the edge of her bed. "About the money." "Ibahan, I figured that out the day before he left." 6 weeks. While Jennifer had been blissfully unaware, her child had been living with this knowledge. She felt sick. "Why didn't you tell me?" Olivia looked down at her hands for the first time, showing a flash of vulnerability. "I wanted to be sure, and I wanted to figure out what to do about it." "Honey, this isn't your responsibility." "Yes, it is." Her voice cracked slightly. "He stole my college fund. He lied to both of us. Someone had to do something." Jennifer looked around Olivia's room with new eyes. Everything seemed different now. Her organized desk, her careful routine, her unnatural calm. "What else do you know?" Olivia got up and pulled a spiral notebook from under her mattress. She handed it to Jennifer without hesitation. The pages were filled with handwritten notes, printed screenshots, and lists of numbers that might have been phone numbers or account information. "Olivia, what is all this research?" she said simply. "Dad thinks he's smart, but he's careless. He uses the same password for everything. He doesn't clear his browser history. He doesn't even log out of his accounts when he's done." Jennifer flipped through page after page of meticulous documentation, financial records, text message screenshots, what looked like travel itineraries. Her daughter had been conducting surveillance on her own father. "This is," Jennifer struggled for words, "this is incredible and terrifying. I learned some of it from YouTube tutorials. Computer security is really interesting once you understand the basics." "Olivia, this kind of thing, accessing someone's accounts, it's not legal." She looked at Jennifer with an expression far too mature for her age. Neither is stealing $75,000 from your daughter's college fund. The matter-of-fact way she said it sent chills down Jennifer's spine. This wasn't her little girl anymore. This was someone Jennifer had never met before, someone calculating and focused and completely unafraid. What are you planning to do with all this information? Olivia took the notebook back and closed it carefully. I'm still working on that part, but don't worry, Mom, I've got this handled. There was that phrase again, the same words she'd said that morning when her father walked out of their lives. But now they carried a weight that made Jennifer realize she might not know her own daughter at all. Show me everything, Jennifer said, her voice barely steady. Olivia hesitated for the first time since this nightmare began. Mom, some of it's pretty bad. Show me. She opened her laptop and pulled up a folder labeled Science Fair Project. Inside were dozens of subfolders with names like financial records, communication logs, and identity theft evidence. Jennifer's stomach clenched. How did you find all this? It started with Dad's second phone, Olivia said, clicking on a folder. He thought he hid it in his closet, but I saw him checking it one night when he thought I was asleep. The screen filled with photographs Olivia had taken through Daniel's bedroom door blurry, but clear enough to show him texting on a device Jennifer had never seen before. I waited until he left it charging in his office one day. I only had maybe 10 minutes, but I got into his messages. Olivia's fingers moved across the keyboard with practiced efficiency. That's how I found Catherine. A new window opened filled with screenshot after screenshot of text conversations, Daniel's words to another woman, talking about Jennifer like she was an obstacle to remove, planning their future together, discussing how to handle the Jennifer situation without losing too much money in a divorce. Jennifer felt like she might throw up. It gets worse, Mom. Olivia clicked to another folder. Catherine Sterling works at Dad's accounting firm. She handles client investments and trust accounts. You found out where she works. I found out everything about her. Address, family, work history, even her Netflix password. Olivia's voice was matter-of-fact, like she was discussing a school assignment. She's been stealing money from her clients for 2 years. The evidence was overwhelming: bank transfer records showing money moving from client accounts into personal ones, fake invoices for services never provided, investment statements that didn't match actual account balances. Olivia, how did you even get into their systems? Catherine uses the same password for everything Sterling 2011. That's her last name and the year she graduated college. I found that on her LinkedIn profile. Olivia shrugged like it was obvious. People are really predictable with passwords. Jennifer stared at her daughter, this stranger sitting beside her. But how did you learn to do all this? YouTube mostly, and some computer programming forums. There's a lot of information out there if you know how to look for it. She clicked to yet another folder, and Jennifer's world tilted sideways again. Bank statements with her name on them, but accounts she'd never opened. Credit applications filed under Olivia's social security number, loan documents signed with forged signatures. Mom, Dad didn't just take our money, he's been using our identities to get loans. The $75,000 from my college fund, that was just the down payment on a $200,000 loan he took out in my name. What? The word came out as a whisper, and he and Catherine are buying a house together in Florida. They used my credit history and your employment information to secure the mortgage. Olivia's jaw tightened. They were going to disappear and leave us holding the debt. The room spun around Jennifer. Identity theft. Fraud. Her husband hadn't just abandoned them, he'd systematically destroyed their financial future to build a new life with his mistress. But I don't know how to fix this, Olivia admitted, her voice suddenly small and childlike again. I know what they did, but I don't know how to stop them. Jennifer pulled her daughter into a tight hug, feeling her small body tremble for the first time. The facade of control finally cracked, and Olivia began to cry deep, wrenching tears that shook her entire frame. I'm so angry, Mom, she whispered between sobs. He stole my future. How could he do that to me? I'm his daughter. I know, baby. I know. Jennifer stroked her hair, her own tears falling. But you're not alone in this. You've done something amazing by finding all this evidence. Now we're going to get help. What kind of help? Jennifer pulled back, wiping tears from Olivia's cheeks. My brother James works in cybersecurity. Remember? And my friend Lisa from college is a financial crimes analyst. We're going to call them first thing tomorrow. Do you think they can help us get the money back? I don't know, sweetheart. But what I do know is that your father and Catherine aren't going to get away with this. You've made sure of that. Olivia nodded, looking both younger and older than her 12 years. I was so scared to tell you. I thought you wouldn't believe me. Oh, Olivia. Jennifer held her daughter's face in her hands. I will always believe you, and I will always fight for you. We're going to get through this together. I promise. For the first time in a week, Jennifer felt something other than despair, a fierce, protective anger that burned away the fog of shock. Daniel hadn't just betrayed her. He'd betrayed their daughter, and that was unforgivable. I have one more question, Jennifer said gently. When you said you handled it that first morning, what did you mean? Olivia wiped her eyes and managed a small, watery smile. I made copies of everything before he could delete it. I set up alerts so I'd know if he tried to take out more loans. And she hesitated. What? I may have signed them both up for every spam email list I could find. Catherine's work email gets about 500 marketing emails a day now. Despite everything, Jennifer laughed. There was her daughter, brilliant and resourceful, but still very much a 12-year-old. Come on, she said, standing up. Let's go make some hot chocolate and call Uncle James. We have work to do. As they headed downstairs, Jennifer realized that Daniel had underestimated them both. He thought he was leaving behind a helpless woman and a clueless child. Instead, he'd created a formidable team, and they were just getting started. So you're telling me my brother-in-law stole his daughter's college fund, forged loan documents in her name, and is planning to disappear to Florida with his mistress? James Wilson ran a hand through his salt and pepper hair, his expression a mixture of disbelief and fury. It was Saturday morning, and Jennifer's kitchen had transformed into a war room. James had driven 3 hours after Jennifer's late-night call, arriving at dawn with his laptop bag and a determined expression. Lisa Wong, Jennifer's college roommate and now a senior financial analyst at a major bank, had joined them via video call, her sharp features framed by the conference room she'd reserved on a weekend. That's exactly what I'm telling you, Jennifer said, sliding Olivia's notebook across the table. And if it weren't for Olivia's investigation, we might never have known until the collection agencies started calling. James flipped through the notebook, his frown deepening. Olivia, this is impressive detective work, but you know accessing someone else's accounts without permission is illegal. Olivia finished, sitting cross-legged on a kitchen chair. I know, but so is identity theft and loan fraud. Lisa's voice came through the laptop speaker. She's not wrong. What Daniel and this Catherine woman have done is far more serious. Multiple felonies, in fact. But we need to be careful how we proceed, James cautioned. Some of this evidence might be inadmissible because of how it was obtained. So what do we do? Jennifer asked, her hands wrapped around a coffee mug that had long gone cold. James and Lisa exchanged a look through the video call. First, Lisa said, we need to secure your financial identity and Olivia's. I'm sending you links to put freezes on both your credit reports immediately. Then, James added, we need to document everything legally. Police reports for identity theft, fraud alerts with the credit bureaus, and notifications to all the financial institutions involved. And Catherine's clients, Olivia asked quietly. The ones she's been stealing from. The adults looked at her, momentarily taken aback by the question. That's complicated, Lisa admitted. We can file an anonymous tip with the SEC and her firm's compliance department, but without revealing how we got the information. What about our money? Jennifer asked. The college fund, our savings. Lisa's expression softened with sympathy. Some of it we might be able to recover, especially if we can prove fraud. But I won't lie to you, it's going to be a fight. Olivia stood up suddenly. I need to show you something else. She disappeared upstairs and returned moments later with her laptop. She placed it on the kitchen table and opened a new folder labeled Florida Property. I found this yesterday, she said, her voice steady. It's the house they're buying. The screen displayed a beautiful Mediterranean-style home with a pool and palm trees, listed at $575,000. That's a lot more than the $200,000 loan, Jennifer said, confused. That's because they're using more than just that loan. Olivia clicked through several documents. They've got the money from my college fund, our savings. And look at this. She pulled up a loan application with Catherine's name and Jennifer's social security number. James whistled. They're using both of your identities plus their own legitimate credit to finance this thing. It's actually rather sophisticated. But why Florida? Jennifer asked. Daniel hates humidity. Florida has strong homestead exemption laws, Lisa explained from the laptop. If they establish residency there and the house is in their names, it's much harder for creditors to seize it in bankruptcy proceedings. It's a common tactic for people planning to commit financial fraud. James studied the screen. When's the closing date on this property? Olivia pointed to a calendar entry she'd found. 2 weeks from now, April 15th. Tax day, Lisa noted. Appropriate. Jennifer felt her stomach twist. So we have 2 weeks to stop them. Actually, so, Olivia said, scrolling to another document. We might have less time than that. Dad's taking time off work starting next Monday. And I found these, she pulled up confirmation emails for one-way flights to Miami, scheduled for next Friday. They're planning to go down early to set up utilities and meet with the local bank. Olivia explained. Once they're there, I think they might not come back. James closed the laptop and looked at his niece with a mixture of pride and concern. Olivia, you've done amazing work here, but I want you to promise me something. What? No more hacking. From now on, let the adults handle this. We're going to do this by the book. Olivia glanced at her mother, then nodded reluctantly. Okay, but you have to promise me something too. What's that? Don't let them get away with it. Her voice was small but fierce. That's my future they stole. James reached across the table and squeezed her hand. I promise, kiddo. They messed with the wrong family. The next few days passed in a blur of activity. Jennifer filed police reports for identity theft while James documented everything and set up secured communications for their small team. Lisa worked remotely, using her financial expertise to trace the money trail and advise them on recovery strategies. Olivia had returned to school, maintaining her perfect attendance record despite everything happening at home. Jennifer worried about the strain on her daughter, but Olivia insisted that routine helped her cope. It's the only normal thing I have right now, she'd explained. On Wednesday afternoon, Jennifer was sorting through financial documents when her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Is this Jennifer Mason? My name is Alicia Cortez. I used to work with Catherine Sterling. We need to talk. Jennifer stared at the message, her heart racing. She immediately called James. It could be a trap, her brother warned. Daniel or Catherine might be trying to find out what we know. Or it could be legitimate, Jennifer countered. What if she has information we can use? After some debate, they agreed to a cautious approach and Jennifer would meet Alicia in a public place, with James watching from a distance. The next day, Jennifer sat at an outdoor cafe, nervously stirring her untouched latte. James was positioned at another table, pretending to work on his laptop while actually monitoring the situation. A slender woman in her 30s approached Jennifer's table. Jennifer, I'm Alicia. She sat down without waiting for an invitation, her movements sharp and nervous. How did you get my number? Jennifer asked. From a financial forum. Your friend Lisa posted something asking about recovering funds from fraudulent transfers at Sterling Wealth Management. Alicia glanced around before continuing. I saw Catherine's name and I had to reach out. Why? Alicia leaned forward. Because she did the same thing at my old firm. She targets wealthy older clients, especially those who aren't financially savvy. She transfers small amounts regularly, usually to accounts she controls but keeps at arm's length. And no one caught her. I tried to report it. I had suspicions, some documentation, but not enough proof. She's very good at covering her tracks. Alicia's expression hardened. She also had a relationship with one of the partners. When I raised concerns, I was the one who got pushed out. Jennifer studied the woman carefully. Why help me now? You don't know me. Because I've spent 3 years wondering how many more people she's stolen from. Alicia pulled a flash drive from her purse. This contains records I kept from my time at Bryson Financial, transaction patterns, client accounts that showed irregularities, notes I made about suspicious activity. It's not proof, but it shows a history. Jennifer took the drive, her hand trembling slightly. Thank you. There is something else. Alicia hesitated. Catherine doesn't work alone. She has a system, and she needs someone on the inside of the firm to help cover her tracks. Daniel, Jennifer whispered. Alicia nodded. Your husband is the compliance officer at Sterling. He's supposed to be the one catching this kind of fraud. Jennifer felt sick. Not only was Daniel stealing from his own family, but he was also betraying his professional ethics and enabling Catherine to steal from vulnerable clients. Why are they rushing to leave now? Jennifer asked. What changed? Annual audits start next month. Alicia explained. If they've been aggressive with their scheme, knowing they're planning to disappear, there's a good chance the auditors would catch it. As Alicia left, James joined Jennifer at her table. Think she's legitimate? Jennifer handed him the flash drive. I do. And if she is, this isn't just about our money anymore. They've been stealing from elderly clients. That changes things, James said grimly. That moves this from a family dispute to a major financial crime. What do we do now? Now, James said, pocketing the drive. We escalate. That evening, their war council reconvened in Jennifer's living room. Lisa joined via video again, this time accompanied by a stern-looking man she introduced as Robert Keller, a former SEC investigator who now worked in her bank's fraud department. Based on what you've shown me, Keller said after reviewing their evidence, we're looking at a sophisticated fraud scheme that spans multiple victims, identity theft, wire fraud, falsifying financial records, misappropriation of client funds. The list goes on. Can we stop them? Jennifer asked. More than that. Keller replied, with your permission, I'd like to take this information to my contacts at the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit. The room fell silent. The FBI, Jennifer whispered. That would mean criminal charges, Keller confirmed. Potentially significant prison time, especially if we can prove the extent of the client fraud. Olivia, who had been quietly listening from the corner of the sofa, spoke up. Would we get our money back? Keller turned to her with unexpected gentleness. That's always the goal in these cases, young lady, and your documentation will help tremendously with that. Jennifer looked at her daughter, seeing the weight of adult concerns on her young shoulders. Olivia, are you okay with this? It would mean your father could go to prison. Olivia was quiet for a long moment, tracing patterns on the sofa cushion with her finger. When she looked up, her eyes were bright with unshed tears, but her voice was steady. He stopped being my father when he stole my future and left us with nothing. I just want back what's mine. Jennifer reached over and squeezed her hand, both heartbroken and proud of her daughter's strength. Then we move forward, she said, turning back to Keller. What do you need from us? Formal statements, documentation of everything in a chain of custody we can use legally. And patience, these investigations take time. We don't have time, James interjected. They're flying to Florida next Friday to close on the house the following week. Then we need to move quickly. Keller agreed. I'll make some calls tonight. As the meeting broke up, Olivia disappeared upstairs to her room. Jennifer found her there later, sitting cross-legged on her bed, staring at a framed family photo from their trip to Yellowstone 2 summers ago. "We looked so happy," Olivia said without looking up. "Was it all fake?" Jennifer sat beside her, studying the smiling faces in the photo, Daniel with his arm around her shoulders, Olivia between them, all three sunburned and grinning against the backdrop of geysers. "I don't think it was fake," she said carefully. "I think it was real then. People change. Or maybe they show who they really are eventually." "I keep thinking maybe I did something wrong," Olivia whispered. "Maybe if I'd been better somehow, he wouldn't have—" "No." Jennifer turned her daughter to face her. "Listen to me. This is not your fault. None of it. Your father made his choices, and they reflect on him, not you. Then why does it hurt so much?" Jennifer pulled Olivia into her arms as the tears finally came, not the controlled crying from before, but raw, heaving sobs that seemed to come from the depths of her soul. "It hurts because you loved him," Jennifer said, her own tears falling. "And because what he did was a betrayal of that love. That's not your failure, Olivia. It's his." They sat together for a long time, holding each other as the last light of day faded from the room. Soon. By Monday morning, events were moving at a dizzying pace. Keller had made good on his promise, connecting them with FBI Special Agent Diane Martinez, who specialized in financial crimes. After reviewing their evidence over the weekend, Martinez had opened an official investigation. "We've frozen the loan applications and flagged the property sale in Florida," Agent Martinez informed them during a conference call. "We've also placed holds on all the accounts we can identify as being connected to this scheme." "What about the money that's already been transferred?" Jennifer asked. "Some of it we've located and frozen. The rest—" Martinez hesitated. "We're still tracking it." "And Daniel and Catherine," James asked. "Do they know they're being investigated?" "Not yet. We're trying to catch them by surprise to prevent them from destroying evidence or hiding assets. But they'll know something's wrong when they try to access their accounts." As if on cue, Jennifer's phone rang. Daniel's name flashed on the screen. "It's him," she said, her voice shaking. "Put it on speaker," James advised. "Remember, don't reveal what you know." Jennifer answered the call, her heart pounding. "Hello. What the hell have you done?" Daniel's voice was sharp with panic and fury. "What are you talking about?" Jennifer kept her voice neutral with effort. "Don't play dumb. I can't access any of our accounts. Credit cards are declined. Even my personal account is frozen." His breathing was heavy, almost panicked. "If this is some petty revenge because I left, I haven't done anything to your accounts. Daniel." It wasn't entirely a lie. She hadn't personally frozen anything. "Then how do you explain this? My realtor just called. There's a problem with our loan application." "Our loan application?" Jennifer couldn't help herself. "You mean the one you took out using Olivia's social security number?" Silence stretched for several seconds. "You don't know what you're talking about," Daniel finally said, his voice quieter now, more controlled. "I think I do. Just like I know about the accounts you opened in my name, and the client funds Catherine has been skimming for years." Another longer silence. "Jennifer." Daniel's voice had changed completely, becoming almost gentle. "I think we need to talk. Face to face. This is all a misunderstanding." "Is it?" She fought to keep her voice steady. "Of course, the money from Olivia's college fund, that was just a temporary loan. I was going to replace it with interest. And those other accounts, they're investment vehicles I set up for our future, for retirement." Jennifer caught James's eye. He mimed continuing the conversation, keeping Daniel talking. "And the house in Florida," she asked. "A vacation property, an investment. I was going to surprise you once everything was finalized." Jennifer almost laughed at the absurdity of it. "With Catherine, were you going to surprise me with her too?" "Catherine is a business associate," Daniel said smoothly. "Yes, we've been working closely on some investments, but you're misinterpreting." "Stop lying." Olivia's voice cut through the room. She had entered silently and now stood by the table, her face pale but determined. We've seen the text messages. Dad, we know everything. Olivia, Daniel sounded genuinely shocked. What are you doing home from school? Teacher workday, she replied calmly. And I'm glad I'm here, because I want you to know that I'm the one who found out what you were doing. I'm the one who followed the money. I'm the one who figured out you were stealing from old people who trusted you. Olivia, honey, you don't understand. I understand perfectly, she interrupted. You stole my college fund. You stole from Mom. You stole from people who needed that money for retirement. You did it all so you could run away with Catherine to a fancy house in Florida. That's not... I saw the one-way tickets. Dad, I saw the messages about never coming back. The silence that followed was deafening. How? Daniel finally asked, his voice barely audible. How could you possibly know all this? Because I'm smarter than you think, Olivia replied. And because you're not as clever as you believe you are. Jennifer watched her daughter with a mixture of heartbreak and pride. Olivia shouldn't have to confront her father like this, shouldn't have to know the ugly truth about his betrayal. But here she was, standing tall, refusing to be a victim. Jennifer, listen to me. Daniel's voice had an edge of desperation now. Whatever you think you know, whatever you've done to my accounts, we can fix this. Just tell me what you want. I want my daughter's future back, Jennifer said simply. I want every penny you stole returned. I want you to face the consequences of what you've done. You don't want to do this, Daniel warned. If you push this, if you involve the authorities, everyone gets hurt. Your reputation, Olivia's life at school when people find out her father is being investigated. Are you threatening us? James cut in, unable to stay silent any longer. Who is that? Are you recording this? Daniel's panic was evident now. That's my brother, Jennifer explained calmly. And no, we're not recording this. But the FBI might be. The FBI, Daniel's voice cracked. What have you done, Jennifer? I haven't done anything, Daniel. You did this, all of it. Before he could respond, another call beeped through an unknown number. I need to go, Jennifer said. I have another call. Jennifer, wait. She ended the call and answered the new one, putting it on speaker. Mrs. Mason. A woman's voice, unfamiliar and strained. This is Catherine Sterling. We need to talk. Jennifer looked at James and Olivia, raising her eyebrows in surprise. What about Ms. Sterling? Not over the phone. Can we meet today? It's important. James was already shaking his head in warning, but Jennifer held up a hand. Why would I want to meet with you? She asked Catherine. Because I have information you need. About Daniel, about the money, about all of it. Catherine paused. He's been lying to both of us. James wrote something on a notepad and slid it across the table. Trapped, Jennifer considered for a moment, then made a decision. When and where? Lakeside Park. By the bandstand. 1 hour. Catherine sounded hurried. Come alone. I'll be there, Jennifer agreed, then ended the call. You can't seriously be considering meeting her, James protested. Actually, I think I should. Jennifer stood up, a new determination in her movements. But I won't be alone. I'm coming with you, Olivia declared. Absolutely not, Jennifer and James said in unison. But no, Olivia. Jennifer's tone left no room for argument. You've done more than enough already. This part is for the adults. Olivia looked like she wanted to protest further, but instead she nodded reluctantly. Be careful. Catherine is just as manipulative as Dad. I know. Jennifer squeezed her daughter's shoulder, and that's exactly why I need to hear what she has to say. She turned to James. Call Agent Martinez. Tell her about both calls and the meeting. See if she can have someone there, but not visible. I don't want to spook Catherine before she talks. James nodded, already dialing. What do you think she wants? I don't know, Mo, Jennifer admitted. But something's changed. They're turning on each other. As she grabbed her jacket and car keys, Jennifer felt a strange sense of calm descend over her. After days of reacting to Daniel's betrayal, of scrambling to understand and respond, she was finally taking control. Whatever Catherine wanted, whatever game she was playing, Jennifer would be ready. The time for being a victim was over. Lakeside Park was busy for a weekday afternoon, mothers pushing strollers, joggers circling the path, elderly couples feeding ducks at the pond's edge. Jennifer scanned the area, finally spotting Catherine sitting alone on a bench near the bandstand. Even from a distance, she didn't look like Jennifer had imagined. In Jennifer's mind, the woman who had helped destroy her marriage would be glamorous, younger, more obviously alluring. Instead, Catherine Sterling appeared ordinary mid-30s, conservatively dressed in a beige pantsuit, her brown hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. Jennifer approached slowly, aware of James watching from his car in the parking lot and Agent Martinez somewhere nearby. Though Jennifer couldn't spot her, Catherine looked up as Jennifer's shadow fell across the bench. Her eyes were red-rimmed and puffy, her makeup hastily applied. "Thank you for coming," she said, gesturing to the empty space beside her. Jennifer remained standing. "What do you want?" "Catherine." Catherine glanced around nervously. "Are you alone?" "Yes." It wasn't entirely a lie. No one was standing with her. Catherine seemed to accept this, her shoulders sagging slightly. "I want to make a deal." "What kind of deal?" "Information for leniency." Catherine's voice was controlled but thin with strain. "I know the accounts are frozen. I know there's an investigation. I want to cooperate before Daniel realizes what's happening." Jennifer sat down, keeping a careful distance between them. "Why would you turn on him?" Catherine gave a bitter laugh. "Because he was planning to turn on me. This whole time, I thought we were partners, building a future together." She pulled out her phone, unlocked it, and handed it to Jennifer. "Look at these messages from yesterday." Jennifer scrolled through a text conversation between Daniel and someone named Robert. With growing disbelief, she read Daniel's detailed plan to pin all the financial improprieties on Catherine once they were settled in Florida. Catherine's name is on all the troublesome transactions. Daniel had written, "When the auditors inevitably find discrepancies, she'll be the one they come after. By then, we'll have established separate finances. Your daughter will be protected, and I'll be seen as another victim of her scheme." "Robert is his brother," Catherine explained. "They've been planning this for months. Daniel was going to take the money we acquired and leave me to take the fall." Jennifer handed the phone back, a sick feeling in her stomach. Even now, Daniel was thinking about self-preservation, not remorse, and he'd been willing to sacrifice not only his wife and daughter, but also his mistress. "Why should I believe you?" Jennifer asked. "This could be faked. You could be recording this conversation to use against me somehow." "You don't have to believe me," Catherine replied, her voice hardening. "Believe the evidence." She pulled a USB drive from her purse. "This contains detailed records of every transaction we made together, every account we opened, every client we borrowed from. It also has recordings of our planning conversations. Daniel was very thorough about documenting everything. Why would he record incriminating conversations? Insurance, in case I ever tried to back out." Catherine's laugh was hollow. "He didn't know I made copies." Jennifer stared at the drive, not reaching for it. "What do you want in exchange?" "Talk to the FBI. Tell them I cooperated voluntarily. Tell them I helped recover the money." Catherine leaned forward, her composure cracking. "I know I've done terrible things. I know I'll have to face consequences, but I don't want to go down alone while he walks away clean." "The money," Jennifer said quietly. "Where is it? My daughter's college fund. Our savings." Catherine looked away. "Some of it went to earnest money on the house. Some is in offshore accounts only Daniel can access. The rest?" She hesitated. "The rest was invested in high-risk ventures that didn't pan out. You lost it." Jennifer's voice was flat. "Not all of it," Catherine insisted. "Maybe 60% is recoverable. With my cooperation, maybe more." Jennifer finally took the USB drive, turning it over in her hand. "Why did you do it?" Why help him steal from his own family? Catherine was quiet for a long moment. At first, it was just business, a few clients who wouldn't notice missing funds, split between us. Then it became personal. He told me you were controlling, emotionally abusive, that you were keeping money from him that was rightfully his, that Olivia wasn't even his biological daughter. Jennifer gasped. That's a lie. Olivia's absolutely his child. I know that now, Catherine admitted. I found her birth certificate in his files. But by then, we were already in too deep. The plan was in motion. And you never questioned it, never wondered if maybe he was lying to you like he was lying to us. I believed what I wanted to believe. Catherine stood up, straightening her jacket with trembling hands. Just like you did. The words hit Jennifer like a slap. Hadn't she ignored the signs, pushed down her suspicions, told herself stories to avoid seeing the truth? I need to go, Catherine said, glancing at her watch. Daniel's expecting me at his hotel in an hour. He doesn't know I know about his plan. What will you tell him? That I'm working on unfreezing the accounts, that I have a contact who can help. Catherine's smile was grim. He still thinks I'm the loyal partner. As Catherine turned to leave, Jennifer called after her. Why tell me this now? Why not go directly to the FBI? Catherine paused, looking back over her shoulder. Because I wanted to apologize. Not for the affair that was between adults, but for hurting your daughter. For that, I am truly sorry. Before Jennifer could respond, two plainclothes agents approached Catherine from different directions. One of them, a tall woman with close-cropped hair, who Jennifer recognized as Agent Martinez, showed her badge. Catherine Sterling, we'd like to ask you some questions. Catherine didn't seem surprised. She glanced at Jennifer with a mixture of resignation and respect. You weren't alone after all. No, Jennifer admitted. I wasn't. As the agents led Catherine away, James jogged up to Jennifer. Are you okay? What happened? Jennifer held up the USB drive. I think we just got everything we need. The following week passed in a blur of legal meetings, formal statements, and emotional upheaval. Daniel was arrested attempting to board a flight to Belize, not Florida, with a suitcase containing $50,000 in cash and a passport under a different name. Catherine, true to her word, cooperated fully with the investigation. Her testimony, combined with the evidence she provided in what Olivia had already discovered, painted a damning picture of years of financial fraud and identity theft. The story broke in the local news. Prominent financial advisor arrested for fraud scheme. Jennifer had dreaded the public exposure, worried about how it would affect Olivia at school, but her daughter surprised her once again. Everyone's being really nice, Olivia reported after her first day back. Maddie Johnson told me her parents got divorced last year because her dad was cheating, too. And Mr. Ramirez pulled me aside to tell me he's proud of how I'm handling everything. That's good, Jennifer said, somewhat surprised. No one's saying anything mean. Olivia shrugged. Jake Miller tried to make a joke about it, but then Sophia told him his dad got fired for stealing from his company last year, so he shut up pretty fast. Jennifer couldn't help but laugh. Middle school is brutal. It's just life, Mom. Olivia's matter-of-fact tone belied her age. Everyone has stuff. Ours just made the news. A week later, they sat in their attorney's office as Lisa Wong explained the financial aftermath. The good news is that with Catherine's cooperation, we've been able to trace and freeze most of the remaining assets. Lisa explained. The Florida property deal has been canceled, and those funds will be returned. And the college fund, Jennifer asked, gripping Olivia's hand. Lisa's expression was carefully neutral. About 60% of it should be recoverable. Eventually, the rest was either spent or lost in some spectacularly bad investments. What about the loan in my name? Olivia asked. Completely nullified. Lisa assured her. The fraud has been documented, and your credit record will be clean. Same for you. Jennifer, what happens to Dad now? Olivia's voice was small, the first time she'd asked about Daniel in days. Jennifer and Lisa exchanged glances. He's facing multiple federal charges, Lisa explained gently. Financial fraud, identity theft, wire fraud. It's serious. Olivia, will he go to prison? Almost certainly. The question is, for how long? Olivia nodded, absorbing this. And Catherine, she'll face charges too, but her cooperation will likely result in a reduced sentence. On the drive home, Olivia was quiet, staring out the window at the familiar streets of their neighborhood. Are you okay? Jennifer asked, reaching over to touch her daughter's arm. I was just thinking, Olivia said slowly, about what happens next, for us. What do you mean? Well, we still don't have all of the money back. My college fund is only partly there. You had to take time off work for all these meetings. Our savings are gone. She turned to face Jennifer. Are we going to be okay? Jennifer felt a surge of fierce love for this child who had been forced to think about adult concerns far too soon. Yes, she said firmly. We are absolutely going to be okay. It won't be easy, and things will be different, but we will get through this together. How can you be so sure? Jennifer pulled into their driveway and turned off the engine. Because we've already survived the worst part, and because we have something your father never understood the value of. What's that? Each other, Jennifer said simply, and that's worth more than any amount of money. Dr. Rachel Thompson's office was painted a calming blue-green, with comfortable furniture and soft lighting. Child psychology certificates hung on one wall, while children's artwork covered another. Olivia sat cross-legged in an oversized armchair, eyeing the therapist with cautious interest. So, Olivia, Dr. Thompson began, your mom tells me you've had quite an experience these past few weeks. That's one way to put it, Olivia replied, the hint of a smile playing at her lips. How would you put it? Olivia considered this. I'd say I learned that adults aren't always what they seem, even parents. That's a hard lesson at any age, Dr. Thompson acknowledged. How are you feeling about everything that's happened? For the next 45 minutes, Olivia opened up about the whirlwind of emotions she'd experienced, the shock of discovery, the burning anger, the determination to fight back, and finally being the complicated grief for the father she thought she knew. Sometimes I feel guilty, she admitted, like if I hadn't found out what he was doing, maybe he would have come back someday. Do you really believe that, Doug? Thompson asked gently. Olivia shook her head. No, he was already gone. He'd been planning it for months. Finding out just meant we could protect ourselves. That's very insightful. Olivia? My mom says I'm an old soul. Olivia picked at a loose thread on her jeans. But sometimes I just want to be a regular kid again. Not the girl whose dad went to jail for stealing her college fund. That makes perfect sense, Dr. Thompson assured her. You've had to deal with very adult problems, but you're still 12. It's okay to want normal kid things too. As the session ended, Dr. Thompson asked to speak with Jennifer privately while Olivia waited in the reception area. Your daughter is remarkable, Mrs. Mason, the therapist began. Her emotional intelligence and resilience are extraordinary. But I am concerned about the pressure she's putting on herself. What do you mean? Olivia seems to feel a strong responsibility to be the strong one, to help you through this crisis. While it's wonderful that you support each other, it's important that she knows she doesn't have to be the adult in the relationship. Jennifer nodded, guilt washing over her. I've tried to shield her, but she sees everything, understands everything. That's clear. Thompson agreed. But understanding and processing are different things. I'd like to continue seeing Olivia weekly for a while, and I'd suggest some mother-daughter activities that have nothing to do with the current situation, fun things, silly things. Remind her it's okay to just be a child. Thank you, Jennifer said, fighting back tears. I'll do that. On the way home, Jennifer made an impulsive turn into the parking lot of Dreamland Mini Golf. What are we doing? Olivia asked, looking confused. Playing mini golf, Jennifer announced, and then getting ice cream. And I fully expect you to beat me badly at both activities. For a moment, Olivia looked like she might object, might remind Jennifer of all the practical matters they should be attending to. Then her face broke into a genuine smile, not the brave, composed expression she'd been wearing for weeks, but the carefree grin of a 12-year-old girl. "You're going down, Mom," she declared, unbuckling her seatbelt. "I'm the mini-golf champion of the universe." For the next 2 hours, they played through the whimsical course, laughing at their terrible shots, celebrating their rare holes in one, and competing with ridiculous intensity. Jennifer watched her daughter transform before her eyes, the weight of recent events temporarily lifted from her young shoulders. Later, as they sat at an ice cream parlor with matching hot fudge sundaes, Olivia looked up with chocolate smeared on her chin. "This was really fun, Mom. We should do stuff like this more often." "Absolutely, B," Jennifer agreed, reaching over to wipe the chocolate away. "In fact, I was thinking maybe we could start a new tradition. Fun Friday. Every week. We do something completely unproductive and totally enjoyable, even with everything going on." "Especially with everything going on," Jennifer squeezed her daughter's hand. "Life is going to keep throwing challenges at us, Olivia, but we can't forget to live while we're dealing with them." Bullshit. 3 months later, Jennifer sat in her small office at Millburg Community Library, organizing a display for the summer reading program. Her new job paid less than her previous position in marketing, but the regular hours and supportive environment had been exactly what she needed during this tumultuous time. Her phone buzzed with a text from her attorney judge-approved final settlement today. "Funds should be transferred to your account within 72 hours. Jennifer closed her eyes, relief washing over her. The legal battle to recover their stolen assets had been long and stressful, but finally it was over. They wouldn't get everything back. Some of the money was simply gone, but they would have enough to rebuild. As she drove home that evening, Jennifer reflected on how much had changed in just a few months. They'd downsized to a smaller apartment across town. She'd started a new career. Daniel had pleaded guilty to multiple charges and was serving a 7-year sentence in federal prison. Catherine had received 3 years, with eligibility for parole after 18 months. And Olivia? Olivia had transformed in ways Jennifer couldn't have imagined. She found her daughter at the kitchen table, surrounded by colorful brochures and pamphlets. "What's all this?" Jennifer asked, setting down her purse. "Research," Olivia replied, but her tone was different from the intense focus of before. There was enthusiasm in her voice now. Excitement. "For our summer project." Jennifer looked closer at the materials. "Financial literacy programs." "Yeah, I had this idea." Olivia pushed her chair back, practically bouncing with energy. "What if we created a workshop for kids my age about protecting their financial future, like basic stuff about how bank accounts work, what identity theft is, how to spot scams, that kind of thing?" "That's an interesting idea," Jennifer said carefully. "But wouldn't most kids find that boring?" "Not the way I'm planning it," Olivia insisted. "It would be like a game, with challenges and mysteries to solve. Kids love that stuff, and Mrs. Henderson said we could test it out at the middle school summer program." Jennifer sat down, looking at her daughter with a mixture of pride and amazement. Olivia had taken one of the most painful experiences of her young life and was transforming it into something positive. "I think it's brilliant," she said honestly. "But are you sure you want to spend your summer working on this? You could just be a kid, you know, go to camp, hang out with friends." "I can do both," Olivia shrugged. "Besides, this feels important. If even one kid learns how to protect themselves or their family, it's worth it, right?" Before Jennifer could answer, her phone rang. The caller ID showed Channel 7 News. "Hello," she answered cautiously. "Mrs. Mason, this is Jennifer Walsh from Channel 7. I'm doing a follow-up story on the Sterling Wealth Management fraud case. I understand your ex-husband was involved." Jennifer hesitated, looking at Olivia, who was watching with interest. "Yes, that's correct," she acknowledged. The story has gained national attention since several other victims have come forward. I'd be interested in speaking with you about your experience. If you're willing, the public could learn a lot from your perspective. Jennifer's first instinct was to refuse. They'd worked hard to maintain their privacy throughout the ordeal, but Olivia was mouthing something at her, making emphatic gestures. "Can you hold for just a moment?" Jennifer asked the reporter. She covered the phone. "What is it? Olivia?" "Tell her yes," Olivia whispered urgently. "But only if they also cover financial literacy for families. This could help so many people." "Mom." Jennifer studied her daughter's eager face, seeing not just the trauma of recent months, but the strength and purpose that had emerged from it. "Ms. Walsh," she said, returning to the call, "I might be interested in sharing our story, but with a specific focus. My daughter and I are developing educational resources to help families protect themselves from financial fraud. If your story could include information about these resources and the importance of financial literacy, I think we could work something out." "That sounds like a wonderful angle," the reporter replied enthusiastically. "Would next Tuesday work for an interview?" After confirming the details and ending the call, Jennifer looked at Olivia with newfound respect. "That was smart thinking. Free publicity for our workshop," Olivia said with a grin. "Never underestimate the power of media exposure for a good cause." Jennifer laughed. "Where did you learn to think like that?" "YouTube tutorials on marketing," Olivia replied without missing a beat. "I've been studying up." That evening, as Jennifer prepared dinner, she watched Olivia working on her laptop at the kitchen counter, completely absorbed in designing colorful worksheets for her financial literacy program. In the soft evening light, she looked both older and younger than her 12 years wise beyond her age in some ways, yet still very much a child in others. A notification pinged on Olivia's computer, and she looked up with a broad smile. "Mom, Uncle James just emailed. He got his company to sponsor our workshop. They're going to provide materials and even some cool tech prizes for the kids who participate." "That's wonderful, sweetheart." And guess what else? Olivia could barely contain her excitement. "Lisa said her bank might be interested in expanding the program if it goes well. They have a community outreach budget for exactly this kind of thing." Jennifer set down the spoon she was using to stir the pasta sauce and walked over to her daughter. She wrapped her arms around Olivia's shoulders from behind, resting her chin on top of the girl's head. "I am so incredibly proud of you," she whispered. "You know that, right?" Olivia leaned back into your embrace. "I'm proud of us. Mom, we didn't just survive, we're making something good out of it." Jennifer thought about how different their lives looked now compared to 6 months ago. They had less money, a smaller home, and their family had been permanently altered. But they had also discovered strengths they never knew they possessed, built a supportive community around themselves, and found a purpose that transcended their personal pain. Daniel had tried to destroy their family when he walked out that door with his suitcase. Instead, he had revealed what they were truly made of. "You're right," Jennifer agreed, pressing a kiss to her daughter's hair. "We're not just surviving, we're thriving." Outside their apartment window, the summer sun was setting, painting the sky in brilliant shades of gold and pink. A new day would dawn tomorrow, bringing challenges and opportunities they couldn't yet imagine. But whatever came next, Jennifer knew they would face it together stronger, wiser, and unbreakable. Daniel could keep whatever remained of his broken life. Jennifer and Olivia had built something infinitely more valuable from the pieces he'd left behind. They'd built hope, and they were sharing it with the world.